Everybody take a deep breath. And let it out and relax. All right, don't say anything, just let it out and relax. I'm Stanley McChrystal, and I'm my staff. Thanks for being here tonight, and I want to talk to you for a little while, and then I'll answer some questions. The reason I want to talk to you today is because I think we've had a significant change in the situation here. And I think it's an important moment in time, and I think it's worth it that we get together when we think about a second where we're going, because I think we're in a great position right now. And I'm going to explain how I see it, and I'm going to get your views as well. First, I want to thank you for all you're doing. I want to thank you for all your soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and civilians are doing. And I also want us to take just a moment and thank for all those who've fallen or suffered life-changing injuries. This has been a long war. It's not over. Many people have borne a significant cost. And it's important for all of those reasons that we be focused for the way ahead. President Obama gave a speech this morning, our time. And with that speech, it was the culmination of a number of events, and I think it changed the situation here. But I think it was the culmination of a number of things that have changed the situation here. And that's the reason I want to explain how I see that right now. It's also going to be very sensitive as we go forward because the eyes of the world are on Afghanistan. The eyes of the world are on you and the people that work for you. People are going to watch and measure everything you say and do. So I'd ask you to put yourself in that position and act with the maturity and the discipline that has characterized all your actions today. I apologize, I've got some notes. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, let's talk about the history for a moment of where we are and how we got here. Because we the coalition, have been in Afghanistan now for 8 years. Many of you have been here multiple tours and have built up a lot of experience. Of course, our Afghan partners have also come different roads to get to where we are tonight. The role of NATO ISAF has changed dramatically. It started in 2001 with 8 nations focused only in the city of Kabul. Today it's got responsibility for partnering with our Afghan brothers across the country. There are 43 nations in the coalition. That's more than 25% of the nations in the world. I'm not aware we've ever had a coalition of that breadth before. And it's a fascinating thing because it's a coalition not to conquer. It's not a coalition to make money. It's not a coalition for glory. It's a coalition to help the Afghan people shape their future. That's an extraordinary thing. And you're all part of a group of people and a team who are trying to help the Afghan people get a chance to do and be what they want to be. Many of the nations in the coalition have been helped before. Many of the nations needed somebody else to help them gain their freedom, protect their freedom, regain their freedom. Many of the nations in the coalition have had help following a natural disaster or during a war to help them defend themselves. And so it's fitting and proper that we come in to help each other. And I suspect if we live a significant lifespan, we'll see Afghan partners with us on other battlefields protecting other people's future. So it's the right thing to do. I want to tell you how I see the situation right now. And I'm going to use a whiteboard because I'm very good at this. That is Afghanistan. If I put legs on it, it'd be a small dog, but it's not. It's my map of Afghanistan. The Hindu Kush obviously dominate the center of the country. Key population centers: Kabul, Jalalabad, Kandahar, where we are now, Herat, Mazar-i-Sharif, connecting roads, lines of communication in and out of the country. It's beset by an insurgency now, and it's not a simple insurgency, because it's multiple insurgencies. And in fact, there are a number of groups, but I'm only going to really focus on 3 of them. The first, generally in the east, Bobatin Hekmatyar's group. In my view, it is the least dangerous of the major groups, with an aspiration to be in the government. Wants to change the government style, but wants to be a part of that government. The Haqqani network operates a little bit like a criminal syndicate, a little bit like a terrorist group, a little bit like an insurgency, has significant links with Al-Qaeda, has significant links with the Taliban, has reached significantly into parts of Afghanistan, particularly lethal. When we see attacks inside the capital city of Kabul, the first guess is normally the Haqqani network. And then the Taliban, the traditional Taliban, in this case I'll call them the Kandahar Taliban. With separate elements up in the Kunduz, Baklan area, the Baghdis area, the Farah area, and then smaller elements. Now this is oversimplified because in fact all of these overlap somewhat, and if you use the term Taliban now, it lacks the precision. You can have a fighter or group of fighters up in the northeast, and they will call themselves Taliban, and they may not have a strong linkage to the Kandahar Taliban. So it's become a bit of a brand name. But at the end of the day, what we have is 3 major groups who operate together loosely, but all threaten the existence of the government of Afghanistan and the safety of the Afghan people. The most dangerous is right where you are, because the Kandahar Taliban wants to replace the government of Afghanistan, wants to be the government of Afghanistan, has been the government of Afghanistan. And as you know, starting after 2001, slowly they have made a resurgence. There are also smaller elements up in the north, as I mentioned. They are not of the same intensity or size that we face in the south or east, but they're not insignificant. In many cases, they are co-located with Pashtun population centers, but they also have additional elements. There are parts of the IMU operating in there, and there are other Ichas that come in there. The bottom line is violence in Afghanistan from 2008 to 2009 went up 60%. 1 year. From 2007 to 2009, it went up about 300%. And the violence has grown from relatively focused in the south and east to being generally spread around the country, although clearly most heavily in the south and east still. It's not an insurgency that will take Kabul tomorrow, but it's an insurgency that affects the way of life of Afghan people. And you see it here. And so how does it affect the way of life? If an individual lives in the Helmand River Valley and is a farmer and wants to take what he grows or she grows up through Lashkar-Gah to Kandahar to sell it, there's not security to prevent them from being stopped by checkpoints. There's not security to stop them from being endangered by IEDs. There's not security to stop them in operating the way people would like to operate with complete freedom.